Hello, friends, and welcome to Elements of Alchemy, the podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Johnson, sharing the astrological, lunar, and tarot influences for the week ahead of March 1st through March 8th, 2019. Blueprint season is ending. This weekend is the last weekend of the moon cycle that began 4 weeks ago with the Aquarius New Moon, where we were asked to envision what we want for ourselves, envision a new expanded life for ourselves. We're wrapping up a lot of cycles. We've been wrapping up a ton of cycles over the course of the last 4 weeks, and actually 6 weeks probably, but definitely over the last 4, with Uranus about to move into Taurus next week and Chiron having moved into Aries as of last week. We're wrapping up a lot of soul growth and a lot of transformation that was meant to activate our will, make us more aware of who we are as individuals, and basically give us the power and the alignment, because that's really what this whole thing was about. It was awakening us to our own individual selves and our own individual purpose so that we could be aligned with our soul purpose and then align with our own higher truth, our own higher wisdom that is obviously connected to everything and everyone. But that's the goal of Aquarius, essentially, is to basically connect us all through our higher consciousness, through our higher intelligence, to connect us all, to connect all of our own individual creative sparks of life and light, to collect those and pull them up and basically kind of make a web of connection around all of us. Aquarius to me rules connective tissue. It's how we connect. Okay. It's how each individual one of us brings our creative gifts, brings our creative expression into the world, and how we make those connections and how we make a world based on that. That's what Aquarius is. And that's what Aquarius was asking us to do for the last 4 weeks, was to understand our individual creative spark, really, really look at how far we've come, how much we've grown, where we are now from, 9 years ago when this journey may have started for you, or, whenever, but to basically look at your evolution and to understand who you are now and to grasp that and to hold it, because you are yours. And now we're being asked to take that, bring that up through Leo. That was that last lunar eclipse in Leo in January. Bring that creative spark up from the inside, bring it up and out, and then move it through and across to Aquarius, where that creative spark then connects with all of the other sparks. And that is how, when each person is living in their truth and creating from their essence, that is how we raise the vibration of the world. That's how the world becomes a better place, when each person aligns with their soul purpose, when each person aligns with their higher truth, when each person does that, when each person knows and owns who they are as individuals. That's how the world becomes a better place. So, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but that was the basic overarching theme of Blueprint season, where it was asking us, hey, now that you have gone through this entire process, okay, and we're still in processes where they don't stop, but now that we've gone through this process and we're about to embark on yet another process, now it's like, okay, we're being called to co-create. And through that co-creation, it's now asking us, okay, we've gotten aligned with our soul purpose and we're aligning with our higher intelligence, our higher truth. Now the time is to envision a bigger life for ourselves that is based on that alignment. Okay, so that's been Blueprint season. And for the last 4 weeks, we've been, like I said, looking at where we have been and how much we've grown. And then from there, looking at what in our lives resonates and what no longer resonates. So understanding where we are now and what it is that we need to adjust, rearrange, get rid of, throw to the side, whatever. Just looking at how we need to arrange our lives so that we can have the lives that are more in alignment with what it is that is true for us, more in alignment with where it is that we want to go, where it is that, who it is that we want to be, who it is that we're growing into, the people that we want to be with, the circumstances we want to be in, the work we want to be doing. Okay, all of that. That is what the blueprint season has been about. Like really, really asking us to step up and step into that place of co-creation so that we can start lighting ourselves up from the inside. Okay, and creating a new framework for everyone to be able to light themselves up from the inside and then make the world a better place based on that. Okay, so that's pretty much what Aquarius is about overall. And then also what the last 4 weeks have been about for us. So it's been a process of looking within, looking without, understanding what needs to change, understanding what needs to go, and then preparing to say goodbye, really just preparing to say goodbye to an old way of being and welcoming in a new way of being. So right now we're in a state of transition. Okay. It's Friday, March 1st, and we're in a state of transition. Okay. The third quarter square of the moon just passed, and that was asking us to basically let go of anything that we are still holding on to emotionally that is going to affect this blueprint that we have for ourselves. That's going to basically kind of that could hinder its progress. Okay, so it's asking us to let go of any emotional beliefs that we are holding on to, any beliefs that we are so emotionally invested in that could potentially hinder our progress, but also asking us to expand emotionally, asking us to expand who it is and what we can, our emotional capacity. Okay, asking us to expand our emotional capacity to be able to accept what is coming for us, accept the vision that we've been holding and tweaking and carrying. I mean, the blueprint has been with us all of our lives. Like it really is our sole purpose. And, we follow it to varying degrees, but we're always on a path. I've mentioned this before. Everyone is on a spiritual path, whether they know it or not. Everyone is. If you're on this planet, you're on a spiritual path. And what happens is sometimes we get misaligned from the highest part of it. Like there's levels. Okay, what we're being asked to do now is align with the highest one that we know of right now for where we are, and to move from that, and to be honest about that, and to be courageous enough to step into that place. So, like I said, with the sun squaring the moon earlier this week, it was really asking us to let go of any limiting emotional attachments that we have to beliefs, whether it's, I don't believe that I can do this thing, or I don't believe that they are going to do blah, 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 or I believe that I will always be abandoned, or whatever things that are, whatever beliefs that you are holding on to on such an emotional, which is a very deep unconscious level. It's kind of bringing that up to the surface and saying, hey, you need to look at this, because what your soul wants cannot hold that. It can't hold that belief structure. That belief structure needs to go, and you need to expand what is possible for you. You need to allow yourself to emotionally expand into what is possible so that this blueprint can actually begin to manifest. Okay, so today is Friday, March 1st, and the moon's doing a couple things, and we're just kind of going to do a little recap before we get into the weekend stuff. But the moon is in Capricorn, and when the moon's in Capricorn, it's about emotional boundaries. Okay, when the moon's in Capricorn, we want to structure our emotional responses. We want to structure and kind of put a few gates up, okay, as to what can come in and what can come out. Cancer is far more, I don't want to say open, because Cancer is obviously it's ruled by the crab. So the crab has a protective shell that, that it has a protective shell that is covering a very, very soft-bodied individual. Okay, so that's Cancer. So it's not that there's no guard there, but Cancer is very, very, it's easier to, Cancer is a water sign, so water has no boundaries. Water just goes where it goes, okay? Capricorn's an earth sign, and earth is about boundaries. Earth is about, putting up something, like something tangible, something that you can feel. It's about limitations, okay? Capricorn is also ruled by Saturn, so it is about, putting a structure around something. So in Capricorn, we want to structure our emotions and create some kind of emotional boundaries. The moon in Capricorn is going to be sextiling the sun and Neptune in Pisces. Now the sun in Pisces is holding our blueprint in the waters of Pisces. So Pisces is our soul. Okay, it's where we are all interconnected on a soul feeling level. Okay, Pisces is the sign of surrender. It's the sign of, just the collective unconscious, like and all the range and spectrum of feeling that we have as human beings, all of anything we can dream of, anything that we can be an illusion about, any like escapism, anything like that. That's Pisces. And with the sun there, and the sun being our consciousness, okay? The moon is our unconscious, the sun is our consciousness. So with the sun being our consciousness and the sun having moved into Pisces last week, our consciousness is now, we're aware that we are on this journey with this new blueprint that we have for ourselves, this new vision that we have for our lives. And now that vision has been in the waters of Pisces, and it's getting a soul, okay? It's becoming infused with emotion. It's becoming infused with, it's becoming infused with the waters and feelings, okay? Whenever we put feeling behind something, it becomes alive. So when that happens, when the sun and the moon have that sextile, and the sextile is an opportunity aspect, it's an invitation, okay? It's an invitation for the sun who's carrying that consciousness of the blueprint to then kind of pull in emotionally, okay? We're having a conscious-unconscious connection, and it's an invitation for the sun and the moon to basically kind of begin to put some emotional, like we want to start emotionally structuring, okay, like kind of feeling our way. And the moon is about feeling, so it's not always this like concrete thing, and certainly with the sun in Pisces, nothing is concrete. So I want to just be very clear with that. But what happens is that it's an invitation for us to begin to put some structure around what it is that our blueprint is holding. Okay, we're beginning to structure. It's a restructuring of our emotional selves to be able to have the capacity, okay, because the moon just came out of Sagittarius, where, we had to let go of limiting beliefs and open up and expand. Sagittarius is about expansion, and expand into, this new emotional self that can handle what we're asking for, handle what our vision is, handle our dream, handle what we want. And then from there, the moon then went on to, Uranus, which Uranus, every time the moon is touching Uranus right now, because Uranus is at that 29th degree of Aries, getting ready to move into Taurus, Uranus is liberation. So each sign that the moon moves through on the way back to the sun for the new moon, every time it gets to that 29th degree of any sign, it's in some way aspecting Uranus, and we're getting a sense of liberation emotionally. Okay, so now that we've got that emotional liberation to expand, and we've we're understanding what belief structures that we've been emotionally invested in that we need to let go of. The sun sextiling the moon in Capricorn is now we're feeling into what new structures need to be there. Okay, like we do still need some kind of emotional structure. We can't not have any, we need boundaries. We all need emotional boundaries. So basically what the sun and the moon sextiling is going to be, it's an opportunity for us to, feel into what how we're going to need to structure ourselves, like how our emotional body, how our emotional being is going to need to be, like what in this blueprint, okay, what about this blueprint that we now need to adjust ourselves emotionally? What do we need to allow in? What do we need to not allow now? Okay, so that's the sextile with the sun, and then the sextile with Neptune. Neptune dissolves. Okay, Neptune is about dissolution and surrender. So there is also an aspect of surrendering as well, like surrendering any, emotions that we may not still be needing. Surrendering, allowing ourselves to kind of surrender control over that blueprint. And, I know for myself, it's like sometimes I get like so riled up emotionally that like I can't let things just do what they do, because I'm kind of like in this state of just like, it's almost being paralyzed inside, because like emotionally, like when you are invested in something, and that's also Capricorn, Moon in Capricorn as well, it's emotional investment, like, so if you're invested in something emotionally, sometimes it's hard to allow it to just do what it needs to do and take the form that it needs to take, because we're so invested in it going a certain way, because we don't want to feel hurt or, feel any kind of, we don't want to feel bad, okay, if something goes wrong, okay? We don't want to feel bad if something goes wrong. That's what I'm trying to say. So I feel like Neptune is there to kind of offer, as we're doing this emotional restructuring, but to kind of offer, some really, really, deep soul level surrender to the process of allowing the restructuring of our emotional selves, of opening ourselves up. Neptune is also about boundlessness. So it's about opening ourselves more and more and more to allow what wants to come in for us to come in. And when we aren't open on emotional levels, like a lot of times we tend to then we get in our minds about things, and we tend to get too busy, because we're trying not to feel. Okay, I feel like this aspect is asking us to feel, okay, asking us to feel into what it is that we need now. Okay, that's what I feel like that aspect is. So that's why I'm kind of talking about it a little bit extra. Okay, so that's the moon sextile Sun and Neptune, and then the moon is going to move on to conjunct Saturn. Okay, now that can be a bit of a kind of an unpleasant aspect sometimes. Sometimes it just feels hard when the moon and Saturn get together, because it's like Saturn is structure, okay, and the moon is not so much structure. The moon is flowing and watering and changing, and Saturn likes to structure things. Okay, so we're thinking with the sextile to Sun and Neptune, there's been like this opening and this dissolution, so that we can allow and begin to understand what it is that we need to let go of and how it is that we need to expand emotionally, so that we can, begin to structure ourselves in a different way to be able to allow our blueprint to come into being. But then we meet Saturn, and I don't feel that is going to necessarily be so unpleasant, as it might just be where that you need to then create some boundaries. It was like we have like this kind of like 1, 2, 3 hit of like opening and receiving and surrendering and allowing, and with like while still understanding that there needs to be some kind of structure. Like we need to have some kind of it's like putting up new posts around us, to allow for the structure, the emotional, to allow ourselves the emotional capacity to handle and to allow our blueprint to come into being. Okay, and that's kind of where the moon is today. Like I said, it could be a little bit hard. We could have some moments where, we kind of, feel a little emotionally constricted or restricted. It'll pass, no worries. It's just that we need to like understand how it is that we need to reform and restructure ourselves, and what it is that we can let in, and what it is that we need to kind of, once again, like put some boundaries up against. And by boundaries, I always look at that as concentric circles. I see like going out from me, like there's, my very, very inner sanctum of people and places and things. And then, then it goes out from there. And that might be something else that, emotionally will be very, very much in touch with what can come close and what kind of needs to stay out on the periphery. Okay. Also today, Venus square Uranus. Okay. So Venus is in Capricorn. Venus is done with their time in Capricorn, and Venus is about to move into Aquarius. But before Venus moves into Aquarius, Venus is going to square Uranus in Aries. Okay, so this is the last time that Venus and Uranus are going to square while Uranus is in Aries, okay, because Uranus is moving next week. And Venus has been through a lot in Capricorn, okay? Venus has, been with Saturn, been with Pluto, been with the South Node, and Venus in Capricorn is really, really looking for what is real, okay? What is empowering, what is real. Venus rules everything that we value, everything we want to attract, how we attract it, how we relate to it. Venus is that magnetism. Venus is love, basically. It's the magnetism that we call love, all right? It's how we attract what we value, how we attract what we want, how we relate to that, how we interact with it, okay? That's what Venus rules. And in Capricorn, Venus very, very much wants material, like what is real? What can I hold in my hand, and what can empower me with its value? Like Venus in Capricorn, very, very much about worth, okay? What is this worth to me, to you? Okay, is this worthy? All right, so that's Venus in Capricorn, essentially wanting what is real and wanting to bring that close, wanting to bring that in, okay? And Uranus in Aries has been liberating our individuality and our individual will, okay? Aries rules our individual will, okay, to take action, all right, on our own behalf, okay? Aries is really great, but, the essential essence of that sign is to act on its own behalf, because Aries is really, really not trying to think about anybody else right now, okay? And that is, we're very self-focused in Aries, okay? We're very self-focused in Aries. Not to say that no one can think about anyone else. That's not what I mean. But Aries is about our own individuality, our own individual will, our own individual, will to act for ourselves, okay? Especially coming out of Pisces, where it's like we're all connected and feeling. Aries is like, get me the fuck up out of here. I gotta go be me. So that's Aries, okay? And imagine the will that it takes to move out of deep soul waters of connection, okay? So that's why Aries is like, it's a very forceful planet. It's a very forceful sign, all right? Because of that will, it's pure will, all right? So Venus in Capricorn squaring Uranus in Aries, it's igniting our worth, okay? It's igniting our worth, and it could be a rub. It's a square, okay? Squares are unpleasant aspects. They're irritating, okay? It's like an itch, or, like how you get a cut on your hand and you can't find where it, like, it's just there, and like you don't really know why it's there, just like mysterious random tiny little cut, and you're feeling this pain, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I must have cut myself. That's kind of what a square is. It's like irritating because it wants you to do something with it. You have to take some kind of action to resolve it, okay? It wants you to look at something so that you can grow. So Venus squaring Uranus is asking us, what are we holding on to? And this has been Venus's journey from Saturn to Pluto to the South Node. What are we holding on to? What have we been holding on to? What are we ready to let go of now that is not worthy of us? That is not empowering our individuality, that is not allowing us to act on our own behalf. What are we ready to let go of? Because Venus is what we attract, okay? And we attract what we are. All right, like that's what we actually attract. You can paint yourself all kinds of different colors and do all kinds of different things, but it's what's on the inside of you that you will keep attracting over and over and over again until you face it. Okay, so Venus has been through this journey for the last 3-4 weeks of understanding what it is that, you know, our interrelational dynamics about like power dynamics, how we are valued, what it is that we value, is what we're valuing a real thing? Is it actually worthy of us? Are we worthy of it? All of those kinds of things. That's what Venus has been doing in Capricorn this whole time. And now when Venus gets to Uranus, it's like, let that shit go. Okay, anything that is not empowering to you, anything that is not worthy of your attention, of your time, of your effort, of your money, of your emotions, anything like that, it's time to let it go, because we have this blueprint that is ready for us to step into being worthy and step into us knowing what's worth our time, what's worth our effort, what's worth us interacting with it. Okay, what is worthy of us? All right, that is what Venus square Uranus is. So it could be a bit of a rub about like, we could be understanding, we could get pinged about like, some feelings of possible unworthiness, or some feelings of, something not, the universe basically trying to show us, okay, are you really, really ready to let this go? And now it's time to let it go. Like, is this worthy of you? Is this empowering for you? Do you feel, when you are with this person or doing this thing or whatever it is, like, do you feel as though you are in your power? That's what Venus has been doing. And now Uranus is like, hey, you know what? Like, you got to let it go. Anything that's not like that, Venus is getting liberated now. Okay, we're being liberated so that now we're going to be able to vibrate inside differently, because remember, Uranus is in Aries. It's our individuality. So it's like Venus, what we attract and what we value, is talking to the liberator of our individuality about our worth, okay, and our value, and what is really there inside of us. Okay, what is really, really there inside of us. Okay, and it's liberating that so that we can start to, with this blueprint sitting over here in Pisces, attract what it is that we want. Okay, we can become that and then bring in what it is that we want, what it is that is worthy of us, what we are worthy of. Okay, we can start bringing those people in, those situations, those circumstances, that kind of work. It's all about being in our power. Okay, so that is what Venus square Uranus is about today. And then Venus is going to move into Aquarius. Now in Aquarius, Venus is a completely different planet. Okay, Venus in Aquarius is very detached. Okay, so Venus in Aquarius is still attracting, still loving, it's still that magnetism, but it's from a much, much less, emotionally like invested space. Okay, it's very much from a space of, sorry if anybody heard that, they just got a package. But anyway, Venus in Aquarius really, really is looking at, it's a bigger picture. Okay. All right. Once again, Aquarius is about the bigger picture. Aquarius is, our ideals and our vision for the world and how we connect to others who, resonate with us. All right. Aquarius is very, very much not so much about the individual, but more about the group and the betterment of all. Okay, that's what Aquarius is about. And Aquarius is also an innovator. Okay, so Aquarius rules our highest intelligence, our highest intellect, our higher consciousness. So it's about like liberation and innovation, and so that's what Venus is now being attracted to and attracting. Okay, so Venus now is going to have us thinking about, different ways to do things. Okay, different types of people and circumstances and situations that we can connect to that will help us to reach, that will help us with our blueprint. Okay, because now the sun and the moon started blueprint season in Aquarius. Okay, And now Venus is there, and Venus is bringing in like a new set of values for us to work from. Okay, so when Venus was in Capricorn, like I said, looking for what's real and understanding, what makes you feel worthy. Okay, what makes you feel empowered, all right? And understanding that we need to be that in order to attract it. Okay, so now Venus in Aquarius is like kind of surveying the scene and taking a more like mental look. We're going to kind of be more in our heads about some things. It's a head-heart connection, all right? That's why I always say when air meets with Venus or air meets with, like the moon, it's more of a head-heart connection. So, but we can be a little bit distant in the heart space. And I don't want to say distant. It's more just, it's not so much a one-on-one. It's like this overarching picture of like, okay, like it's another way of how, in a sense, like how can we get this done? How can we connect? How can I pull up what I need and attract that to me? So we're going to be looking at, sorry, that when the package came in, just kind of like totally threw me off. But anyway, Venus is going to be really, really looking at how we can do things differently. Okay, how we can do things differently and how us doing things differently is going to affect what it is that we are trying to build. Okay, it's how the blueprint, Venus is going to come in and add some revisions to the blueprint about what it is that we need to attract, what it is that we need to bring in. Okay, and also how we relate to that. Okay, because now that we have like this blueprint and it's in Pisces and it's getting a soul and it's becoming alive and it's turning into a dream, we need to start rearranging our associations and our relationships, and we need to start understanding that, kind of broadening our view about our own world and what it is that we can, interact with and who it is that we can interact with, and like just really, really think about creating like broader networks. Okay, so Venus here is going to really like have us thinking about, being a little free, okay, so that we can explore. Okay, we're going to want to explore, maybe different options for things, different ways of being in relationship, different ways of, maybe meeting people, different ways of, like I said, even different ways of like thinking about what it is that you can bring in to help you build this new life you want for yourself. So that's Venus in Aquarius. And for the next few weeks, Venus will be there. So I'll explain it better and hopefully not get another package in between. Anyway, but as soon as Venus enters Aquarius, Venus is going to sextile Chiron. Okay, and I haven't talked a lot about Chiron because there just has not been time. But Chiron is, it's our archetype for the wounded healer, okay? Chiron is our deepest abiding soul wound, okay? And basically it's a wound of separation, all right? It's a wound of separation, and it's a wound of, I should actually say it's a wound of separation that we transcend by reconciling our divinity and our humanity. All right. That's the two parts of us that we feel as though cannot be reconciled. All right. And perhaps they can't. And because of that, we have to transcend the wound. There is no healing for that. We are both divine and human. Okay. And Chiron helps us to understand that. Okay. So when Chiron is in a sign, then we feel the effects of kind of like the humanity, it's like we feel the humanness of that sign very, very poignantly. And so Chiron just moved from Pisces, which was the soul waters, and that was our wounding of our soul from the disconnect of, it's our human disconnect from the all, from everything, from, just from our souls and from, our soul beings and everyone in that deep unconscious and the collective. Aries, the wounding is to our individuality, okay? So in Aries, we could all be feeling like this desire to act, but also like this kind of kickback about like, well, if I act, what's it going to do? Because Aries it's a cardinal sign. So the first degree, like that 0 degrees Aries, is a very, very powerful degree, because it's where it's where the new cycle of the zodiac starts after it ends at 29 degrees Pisces. It's remember I was talking about Aries being that like that will to like bust out of the soul waters and like be free, so that you can like kind of claim and stake your claim as an individual instead of like, floating around in waters with everybody. Aries it's that 0 degree is when like Aries busts out of Pisces. Okay, so Chiron just busted out of Pisces, okay, and is feeling pretty good. But at the same time, we're also, we're feeling this push to act, but there is a wound there. Okay, because Chiron is making us aware of that, because that's our goal for the next 9 years, to transcend, to become aware of and learn how to transcend that wound of our individuality, and how we may, sometimes, like I said, Aries wants to act on its own behalf and on its own behalf only, okay, where that can get in the way of us touching our divinity, okay? Because Aries is so hell-bent on trying to get out of that and stake a claim for itself here and be an individual, that sometimes it forgets about others, okay? And the higher purpose and the higher truth that we all share, so it can kind of step on toes. So that's what we'll be learning with Chiron and Aries. So Venus moving into Aquarius and sextiling Chiron, it's an opportunity aspect. So I feel as though with Venus being in this sign of, this big, like, kind of the humanitarian, okay? The humanitarian, the vision for the greater good, the vision for the greater collective, Venus being in that sign, and then sextiling Chiron, it's an opportunity for us to take into account and take into consideration, yes, we want to act. We want to act, but we also need to be thinking about everyone around us, okay? And what it is, how, like, understanding the best ways that we need to do things, okay? Because Venus also just, is technically still squaring Uranus. So we could be made aware of, maybe some selfish actions that we have taken, okay, in the past, or, are taking it as we speak, and maybe some selfish actions or whatever, where we were trying to empower ourselves, but kind of trampled over others and their feelings. Okay, so we could be getting that from Venus square Uranus. Okay, and then as Venus is sextiling Chiron, getting and moving into Aquarius, understanding, okay, how it is that we can now act in a different way. Okay, and Aquarius is, like I said, it's the sign of the greater good. So understanding how we can act in a different way that is maybe a little less selfish, okay, and more inclined to consider the consequences for everyone and not just our own, just us, basically. So that's kind of what I see Venus into Aquarius sextiling Chiron being about. But also in that, and this is something that I didn't really mention the last couple of weeks, there's been so much astrology, but Chiron being at 0 degrees Aries and Uranus being at 29 degrees Aries, they're one at the very beginning, one at the end. This is a portal. Okay, I see it as a portal. I think I mentioned this at the Virgo full moon podcast, like very, very briefly, but I see it as a portal, and I see it as a portal for the divine masculine to come in. Okay, like I don't get hung up on genders and all that stuff. I don't generally even like to give the planets genders. However, there is a force, there is a divine structuring force, there is a divine linear force, there is a divine force that puts things into order and structures. That was what we would call the divine feminine, or divine masculine, excuse me. And this is the portal for the divine masculine to come through. Okay, the divine masculine is our will. All right. Now, 9 years ago, we also had the same portal open up, but it was in Pisces. Okay. Chiron was at 0 degrees Pisces. Uranus was at 0 or 29 degrees Pisces. Okay. And as they shifted to get ready, as they were there, we had the portal for the divine feminine to come in. Okay. So the last 9 years, we've been working through and working with the divine feminine. Okay. As the aspects of openness and change and, kind of formlessness and connectedness and all of those things. We've been working with all of those aspects, and everyone has been saying that. So, I mean, I'm not complete, I'm just kind of putting this into, just kind of putting it into perspective of like kind of what's been happening. So we had the portal for the divine feminine, and now this is the portal for the divine masculine to come in. Okay. And so we're going to be thinking about our actions, especially as Chiron is going to move through for the next 9 years. Okay, we're going to be thinking about the wounding of the divine masculine now. While Chiron was in Pisces, we were thinking about the wounding of the divine feminine. Now we're going to flip that, okay, and think about the wounding of our masculine sides, okay, our structuring sides, our more logical sides, okay, that's what we're going to be thinking about. So Venus, I also think sextiling Chiron is just going to be, it's kind of like the feminine blessing, to this, because the portal is going to close soon, and then we're going to start getting to work. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of also bring that up, because that was something that, they wanted me to tell you guys, because there's a lot of stuff that I feel like I haven't said that I am saying today. So that is that. So that is Venus into Aquarius, sextile Chiron. We're just going to be really, really thinking about, thinking more about how we can expand our worlds, how we can do things differently, okay, and how we can stay liberated, all right? That's what we're really trying to think, while not hurt, and still exercise our will while not stepping on others' toes, okay? So we're going to have an impulse to act and probably kind of pull back a little bit, and it's going to be like this for a little while, but I wanted to just mention that. So Saturday, the 2nd, we have the moon still in Capricorn is going to conjunct Pluto and the South Node. Okay, so we've been doing a lot of work, and Pluto, like I said, is it's Pluto in Capricorn is the root of our personal power. Okay, Pluto rules your roots. Like, it's all the way down, primal stuff. Okay. Moon conjunct Pluto, especially after coming off the conjunction with Saturn, and we're talking about emotional structuring. Okay, Pluto is going to take us down to the root of why we have the boundaries we do or do not. Okay, how it is that we have structured ourselves emotionally. Okay, so we're going to be able to kind of feel into, and it might not be comfortable, okay? Like, I'm going to tell you, it might not be comfortable, but we're going to be able to see if we're really, really, aware and engaging with our feelings. We're going to be able to understand, something about the root of why we have the emotional boundaries that we do. Okay, something about the root of that. We're going to be able to understand and kind of glean some insight into like, oh, okay, this is why this is the way it is. Okay, this is why I need to let some of this shit go. This is why I need to restructure, because what I'm calling in Pisces, in my blueprint consciousness, okay, what I'm calling in, I can't keep these boundaries this way. Okay, and Pluto's going to show us that. It's going to be like, this is why, this is the root. And it's going to be through our feelings. Once again, the moon is always through feelings. So it'll be feelings that we're having. So we're going to want to be aware of our feelings. Okay, so we can get at what it is that we need to do. Okay, so we're going to be down in the roots, and then the moon's going to conjunct the South Node. Okay, which is our karmic past. Okay, it's on the evolutionary continuum. It's actions that we have taken in the past. It holds weight. It holds gravity. It's actually what we're trying to move away from to kind of get back to in a better way. But first we have to move away from it. Okay. But the South Node, it holds information and it holds gifts. So when the moon, after conjuncting Pluto, and it's basically kind of like a 1-2, because Pluto and the South Node are very close, not quite together yet. It's basically going to be we're going down to the root, okay, in the past, the roots in the past, okay, past actions, past relationships, past structures that we have held, okay, and understanding how, why it is that we have the emotional boundaries that we do, okay? Why do we have them? Why are they there? And then understanding what needs to restructure so that we can be empowered emotionally while still maintaining proper boundaries, okay? Whether that's to let more things in or let less things in or, whatever, but it's to find balance in that, okay? It's to find balance. All right, so that's going to be the moon conjunct Pluto and the South Node on Saturday. So that could be like a pretty intense, a little bit uncomfortable time emotionally, and you might not even know why, but that's probably why. You might be feeling like you're kind of in a dark space and you can't quite understand what's going on, but that will be why that's happening. Then the moon is going to move on and sextile Mercury. Okay, so moon in Capricorn is going to sextile Mercury in Pisces. Now, Mercury in Pisces is holding the concept of our blueprint. Okay, this is what we think about the blueprint. This is how we think about the blueprint. Okay, Mercury in Pisces is holding that for us, and the moon is going to come and sextile it. So now with the moon, after having, the last 2 days gone through the sun and Neptune and Saturn and Pluto and the South Node, okay, now the moon is going to come up to Mercury, who's holding this concept of our blueprint, and the moon's going to be like, hey, okay, here's some things for us to think about. I have these feelings, okay, and I have these feelings about what belief structures need to go and how we need to expand ourselves emotionally and how we need to restructure our emotional boundaries to allow in what it is that we're calling for in this blueprint that you're holding here, Mercury. And Mercury's going to say, thank you, moon. And, but it's going to be an invitation for us to really put our thoughts with our feelings. Okay, Mercury's already in Pisces, which is a very intuitive feeling mind. So it won't be that hard. It won't be like we have to make this giant leap to like, I'm having feelings and now I'm going to think about them. Like it'll be a very, very easy, I think it'll be an easy flow. It's a sextile. Like I said, it's an invitation, but I think it will be a very easy invitation for us to accept because then we'll be able to think about very deeply, especially since Mercury is on the 29th degree of Pisces. So that is a very, very deep, deep degree. Okay. Like I was talking about, 0 Aries being where our will gets fired out of that waters of Pisces. It's firing from the waters of Pisces because it's like 29th degree is kind of, they call it the degree of sorrow. Okay. Because it's like, we're all interconnected and we're all, feeling, we're flowing and we're doing the things. And then you want to leave, like you have to go. Okay. So it's like, it's things that we have to leave behind. Okay. It's that connectedness that we're leaving behind so that we can go off so that the divine as us can go off and experience itself in life. Okay. Because in Pisces, it's experiencing everything all the time simultaneously. So it's like the divine wants to experience itself through us. And through that's where we get that pull to then individuate, okay, and come out of that water. So the 29th degree is us deciding to come up out of that water, okay, and then move into the first degree of Aries where we've like fired out, okay. That's what that is. It's a birth, okay. And so we're going to be thinking a lot about, once again, more past things, perhaps like past actions, past feelings, and understanding on a very intuitive level what it is that we need to restructure for ourselves emotionally, how we need to open ourselves up for this blueprint concept. And it'll be in our thoughts, okay? It'll be in our thoughts about, okay, like this is what we're going to need to do. This is why we need to do it. This is why I need to do blah, 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 and open up in this way. This is, that's what we're going to be thinking about. Okay. And then the moon is going to square Uranus. Okay. So this is kind of all at the same time, actually. But I'm just breaking it down for, explanation's sake. the moon is going to square Uranus at 29 degrees, okay? And the moon is, when the moon squares Uranus, once again, it's more emotional liberation, okay? But it could potentially just be uncomfortable. All right, we just had like a very, like, sort of, I don't want to say, we had a lot of intense feelings, with the conjunction to Pluto and the South Node, and then sextiling Mercury on that 29th degree. So we're having a lot of intense feelings about the past. And it might be stuff that we don't even really remember, but we're having the feelings, okay? And we're beginning to understand what it is that we need to change, what it is that we need to do, how we need to allow ourselves to expand internally, okay, on our emotional level. What it is that we need to do so that we can allow this blueprint to come into being and live, basically. Okay, so it could be like a real emotional, we could get some kind of emotional rub, some kind of emotional irritation that is going to ask us to let go of something. Okay, once again, to open ourselves up. It's more emotional liberation. Okay, understand what has been disempowering us with the moon still being in Capricorn. It's about empowerment. Okay. And, the moon conjuncting Pluto in the South Node, it's, how our boundaries have essentially led to our emotional disempowerment. That's essentially what we're talking about. Okay. So, and then sextiling Mercury, we're going to, it's going all talking in the blueprint. We're feeling and we're understanding on a very, very deep level. And now moon square Uranus is giving us that liberation. Okay, but it might be in the form of like, okay, I don't know how it's going to play out. It could play out, just as an internal process. I feel like, that's how I've been playing out a lot of these things. It's been a lot of internal triggering. Sometimes it has to be an external trigger. So I'm not sure how it's going to play out for each one of us, but it could be an irritation about like really seeing, okay, because Uranus also rules enlightenment, so we can see very clearly, all right? See very clearly, okay, this is what needs to go. I need to be liberated from this thing so that I can move on and be empowered emotionally and set the proper boundaries, because that's what my blueprint's calling for, okay? So that's where we are. Then the moon is going to move into Aquarius, okay? And once the moon gets into Aquarius, the moon also gets detached, okay? So the moon is in Aquarius more about, I'm trying to think about how I want to say this. It's the moon in Aquarius right now is going to be, after coming from, this emotional boundaries and emotional structuring, like the moon in Aquarius gets very, very much detached, and the moon can take it gets objective. Okay. It's a lot of emotional objectivity. That's what I'm trying to say. It's emotional objectivity. Okay, so where we've been like, oh, okay, like very, very deep in while the moon was in Capricorn, and really looking at our structures and our roots and, why we have the boundaries that we have and how they've been empowering or disempowering and blah, blah, blah. The moon is going to get this like deep insight from Uranus and like this chance to liberate on an emotional level, and then move into Aquarius, where now it's the objectivity that we're looking for. Okay, we're looking for the objectivity to be able to detach ourselves from our more subjective, just our more subjective fears, and like understanding emotionally that we can really open up. Okay, we can really open up, and it to let go of certain things will not be so bad, and to understand how we can allow different connections in, allow a broader base, because the moon likes to be very, very intimate. Okay. The moon in Aquarius is not as intimate. Okay. It's not an intimate moon. Okay. It wants to be, it's objective. So it wants to be a lot less confined to one or two, or, like a few different, very, very deeply connected things. It wants to connect on a larger level. So we'll be looking to do that. And once again, that's going to inform what's going on with our blueprint in Pisces, okay? So it's going to keep informing that, okay? And it's going to be like, oh, okay, these are the things that we're going to be needing to kind of understand, and like taking this broader view, because the world is bigger than our little, our little patch of sand here, okay? All right. And then the moon's going to conjunct Venus basically as soon as it gets into Aquarius. And when the moon does that, we're going to have like this, like our values and our emotions are going to kind of click. Okay. Like the moon and Venus have just come out of Capricorn, where they've both basically just had the same experience. The moon or on an emotional level, and Venus is emotional in a sense, but not necessarily. Okay. Venus is actually pretty detached in a way. Okay. Because Venus rules, you know, like I said, it's what we value. So it's more, but both are, what am I trying to say? We need, here's the way it works. We need the moon for Venus to be able to do what Venus does, because the moon gives us our emotions. So it's why we feel attracted to things. Okay. We feel attracted. Moon is feelings. Okay. But Venus can be very, very like Venus as a, what am I trying to say? Venus is a more objective space. Okay. Venus rules Taurus and rules Libra. Taurus is Taurus is earth. So Venus is very grounded in what is here and what is tangible. And Venus grows things and makes things beautiful. Okay. But by also being that air, it goes to everyone and everything. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is when the moon conjuncts Venus, like we have this, it's like our values and our feelings line up. Okay. But they're lining up in Aquarius, which is giving us like I said, it's a more objective stance. Okay. Because we're still letting things go and things are still morphing and forming. Like our old ways of being are going, our new ways of being are coming in. So it's giving us like a more objective stance so that we can allow, and also call in some new experiences. Okay. Some new experiences. And also Aquarius is our higher mind. Okay. So we're aligning our values and our emotions with our higher mind. Okay, so that's why we're able to take a more objective stance and not be as subjective and thinking about calling in new and different experiences, because this is from our higher place. Okay, it's from a higher place inside of ourselves that we are able to call these things in and have this lock in for ourselves. Okay. And while all of this is happening, so Saturday is kind of like a pretty intense moon day. The moon is going to sextile Chiron. Okay. And once again, we already talked about Chiron being our wound. Okay. It's our wound. And right now in Aries, it's the wound of our individual. Okay. It's the wound of the individual leaving, okay, using its will to leave that connectedness. Okay. So the moon sextile Chiron is an opportunity for us, okay, to once again understand. Okay, we might feel a little bit of something, okay, but it's an opportunity. It will probably be more pleasant than not because it is a sextile. So we're gonna underfeel. Bleh. Okay, we're going to be thinking and feeling, okay, about how I feel like it's going to be more about our own wounding on this one. Okay, our own wounding and what new actions we can take. All right, what new actions we can take. And with Venus and the moon conjunct, as the moon is sextile in Chiron, and this is just coming to me now, it's that, Aquarius is the blueprint. Aquarius is the vision. Okay, so this is us really, really understanding what it is that we need to, like, putting our feelings and our values and healing into this vision, like healing of our individual selves. Okay, because Venus and the moon are also still in aspect to Uranus. Okay, and Uranus rules Aquarius. All right, Uranus rules Aquarius. So we're still getting that kind of holy fire, okay, to ask us. It's really aligning us with our higher intelligence, with the intelligence that oversees everything. okay, and connects all things, we're going to really be understanding the connections that we need to make, okay, and the connections that we have now. And we're going to be thinking about changing how we do things, okay, how we take action in the world, okay, how we take action to have our emotional needs met, how we take action to attract what it is that we want into our lives. We're going to be thinking differently about that, okay? And then Sunday, the moon in Aquarius is going to square Mars in Taurus, okay? And moon square Mars can not feel very good, okay? It cannot feel very good because it's our emotional self with our will to act. And sometimes it's a clash between the two, okay? Because when it's a square, like I said, it's a frictional aspect. So our emotions are not quite aligned with what it is that we want to be doing. Okay, now Mars has been down in Taurus, plodding along, clearing a path. Okay, clearing a path so that we can begin to build something when Uranus gets in next week. Okay, so Mars is clearing the way, clearing the space, and really kind of like nose to the grindstone, doing that work. Okay, and it's very slow, it's very methodical. So we've been thinking a lot about, you know, our blueprint and what it is that we want for ourselves, okay? And also taking those very slow, steady, practical, step-by-step, you know, actions to make those things happen, okay? That's that impetus from Mars. Everything while Mars is in Taurus is very step-by-step. It's very practical action, okay? We're not trying to, like, you know, spend a lot of money. We're not trying to, you know, go and do anything, you know, off the wall and crazy. It's really like very, very methodical, very slow, planned, diligent action, okay? And the moon in Aquarius, once again, is like way more objective, okay? And thinking about innovating things, like how can we do this? Okay, like the moon is aligning with our higher awareness, our higher intelligence, and in this objective emotional space. So it's not super attached to what's going on, okay? And thinking about how can we do things differently? How can we take some different actions to meet these new emotional needs that we have? And it could be a square because Mars in Taurus doesn't really like to change what's going on. It's on a track. It's been plodding along this whole time. And now the moon's like, hey, Mars, like, you know, I'm seeing some things from up here, and, you know, I was wondering if we could maybe, and Mars is like, no. So that could be like, we want to take, you know, we might be feeling like we need to take a different direction. We need to take a different action. We need to kind of back up from something. Okay. And Mars might be like, not right now. Okay. So it could be a bit of friction about that because Mars is basically still sextiling the sun. So Mars has a direct link to that blueprint in Pisces. Okay. So Mars is like, you know what? I have this plan right here. But the moon is like, hey, you know what? I'm seeing something differently because the moon has been all around the zodiac and is getting all of this different information and is, you know, being liberated at every turn at the 29th degree by Uranus. So the moon is seeing, like, we're feeling things differently. So now the moon is like, hey, Mars, like, you know what? I'm thinking I might want to do such and such. Okay. And we might be feeling, like I said, this emotional, you know, just like an emotional freedom. Okay. An emotional freedom. And which may, you know, make us question the route we're taking, make us question what it is that we're doing. So it might be like a good idea to just kind of stop and, you know, just kind of take a look around and assess where we are. All right. Rather than trying to keep plodding through, it might be a good idea, you know, on Sunday to kind of just take a break so that, you know, we can assess instead of like barreling through, and because some things might need to just take a break and open up. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm feeling is coming through for Moon square Mars. Just like really, really kind of give ourselves some space, okay? Because Mars is really invested in what's happening. The sun is really invested in what's happening. The moon is invested, but just not in the same way. The moon has more perspective about things. So the moon is looking and saying, you know what? Okay, blueprint, Mars. All right, I kind of see what's happening because the moon is also semi-sextile the sun. Okay, and I don't usually talk about semi-sextiles, but there's a hell of a lot of them going on this week. Not much more. And semi-sextiles, it's an almost sextile. So it's a 30-degree aspect, and it can be frictional. Okay, so it where a sextile is a pleasant invitation, a semi-sextile is like this real low level. Okay, it's a low level feeling. All right, and there are some aspects that get talked about more, some less. But the fact that there are so many semi-sextiles, and sextiles are opportunities. All right, so what I was feeling, what I was getting about this is that right now there are things in the works that we don't see. Okay, we don't see everything that's happening. There are opportunities that are coming, they're being formed. Okay, and the semi-sextile is where those connections are beginning to turn, they're going to begin to blossom into something that we can take advantage of later. Okay, because we're in this process of leaving the old behind and preparing to birth something new. And that something new, it's taking shape. It's got to gel so that we can begin to have the opportunities. So moon square Mars, like I said, the moon is getting this perspective and Mars is kind of plodding away down there in Pisces. We've been on this track of like very practical action towards what we see, because the moon is Mars is an aspect to the sun in Pisces as well. What we see of our blueprint in those soul waters, okay? But the moon is also semi-sextiling the sun. Okay, and the moon and the sun are talking, so it's our consciousness and our unconsciousness talking to each other. And really, when it's Aquarius and Pisces, it's higher intelligence, highest feeling. Okay, all right. So it's like the supreme intelligence and the supreme soul, spirit, soul, spirit, soul, spirit, soul. Okay, that's what's talking. All right. So I feel this as, it's kind of like a sit back and chill aspect, because we can fuck some shit up if we go plodding along, or if we get too I don't want to say emotional about something. Okay, the good thing is that the moon is in Aquarius, so it's like it's going to get so emotional, but it can get pretty cold. Okay, that is the thing. We can kind of like turn off if something isn't going our way. All right, or if we can get we can shut down emotionally. So what I'm seeing is through this semi-sextile is that this is the unseen hands. That's how I feel semi-sextiles. It's unseen hands. And it's like that discomfort of not knowing. You can feel something's brewing, but you don't quite know what it is. Okay, that's what I feel unseen hands are. And the rest of the week is quite literally like semi-sextile after semi-sextile after semi-sextile. So this is where it starts on Sunday. Okay, it starts with the moon square Mars, semi-sextile the sun. What I'm feeling is that it's kind of like, Jesus, take the wheel. Okay, kind of just step back. Maybe take a break from the action. All right, go do something, like just let the blueprint be what it is right now. Okay, that's how I feel that's what's coming to me. Let the blueprint be what it is, because we have to go within, because it's also the dark moon begins on Sunday. Okay, so that's a time of going within when it's right before the new moon. It's the 3 days before the new moon where there's no moon visible in the sky. Okay, and that's a call for us to go in. We've just finished all this work for almost 4 good weeks. Okay, and it's a call for us to go in and assess. Okay, it's a call for us to go into ourselves and not assess the outside situation, but to assess ourselves. Okay, it's a time for us to assess ourselves, to go in and think about everything that we have been through during this moon phase. Okay, in preparation for the next moon phase. So it's not really a time of action. Okay, it's a time of really, really kind of being still, being as quiet as possible, taking time for yourself, and being with your emotions, because they can also be heightened at this time as well. Okay, because we're being asked to drop in. We're being asked to tune into ourselves. This particular one, as soon as like when I wrote all these aspects down like a week and a half ago, I was like, oh my gosh, as soon as I saw all the semi-sextiles, everything that started coming to me was just, it's everything, it's forming. Everything is forming. Okay. What's coming is it's swirling. I just, all I see is swirling. It's just swirling. So let it be. Okay. That's what I'm going to say. Let it be. Jupiter is also going to semi-sextile Pluto. Okay, so Jupiter is in Sagittarius, asking us to expand. Okay, expand our minds, expand our being, also showing us the higher truth within ourselves. Okay, so that's what Jupiter's doing in Sagittarius. Pluto's in Capricorn, showing us the deepest roots of our how we can get empowered at the deepest, most root level by tearing out all the shit that's disempowering to us. Okay, that's what Pluto's doing. So there's a semi-sextile there. So there's opportunity brewing for a new power structure based on our truth coming in. Okay, Mercury is going to semi-sextile Uranus. Okay, so Mercury in Pisces. Okay, sorry. Okay, and this aspect is actually going on for quite a few days because Mercury has stationed to go retrograde. So Mercury's not moving from this 29th degree for the next couple of days. And Uranus is still on the 29th degree of Aries. So they are both going to be on this 29th degree until Uranus moves into Taurus on Wednesday. So this aspect, I feel like, is really, 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 really important because Mercury, once again, is holding that concept of the blueprint. Okay, Mercury's been holding the concept of the blueprint and taking it through the waters of Pisces. Okay, so our concept has come alive in the waters of Pisces. Once again, it's gotten a soul. Like we can feel we can feel our blueprint. Okay, in our minds, we can feel it. We can intuit it. Okay, we understand it. We're beginning to understand it on a very, very intuitive, basic level. It's really getting into our mind, heart space. Okay, the semi-sextile to Uranus. When we started this process, the sun and the moon were in Aquarius, where Uranus rules. Okay. What I feel is happening here with the semi-sextile is that there's something brewing about this blueprint concept. Okay. And Uranus and Mercury are talking. Mercury's holding the concept. Uranus is about to move into Taurus. Taurus builds. Okay. Taurus builds things. Uranus moving into Taurus is going to really basically break open the ground, begin to break the ground open. Okay, so that we can, like Mars has been clearing the ground, Uranus is going to break ground so that we can start building new structures. Okay, and I feel as though this aspect is really connecting our minds with that higher intelligence. Okay, so that what we feel and know of the blueprint, okay, what we feel and know of what this new life is that we want for ourselves is going to go, they're talking about it, okay, they're talking about it, and spirit, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, God, okay, is beginning to make this, it's churning, okay, things are churning for us now, okay, the gears are turning. Where things may have been a little bit stagnant before, the gears are turning. They're turning very slowly. They're turning very quietly under the surface. And you can probably feel it. Like I said, it's that irritating feeling of like, I know something's coming, but I just, like, what is it? And you want to do something. You want to take some kind of action, but it's just not quite ready yet. That's what this keeps feeling like to me. Okay, so that's Mercury semi-sextile Uranus, and that's going to be going on for the next few days. Okay, because that's just Mercury's there at the 29th degree of Pisces. Uranus is at the 29th degree of Aries, and they're 30 degrees apart. So we're going to be feeling like something, and Uranus is a very electric planet, so it gives you like that feeling of like kind of like something's going on, like you're waiting for something. You're like waiting for something because it's like electricity in the air. And I feel like this, and with Mercury stationing, that's a very heavy aspect. When a planet stations, it pulls energy because it's standing still in the sky. To us, Mercury's not really standing still in the sky, but to us, it's standing still in the sky. So it's pulling energy. Okay, so both of these planets at 29 degrees, which are energetic, they're pulling energy anyway because the 29th degree of any sign is intense. Mercury stationing and Uranus getting ready to leave. So it's an energetic pull. The concept of our blueprint is really going into Uranus to start breaking that ground. Okay. And this is, like I said, this is magic. This is magic right here. It's really, really let go and let God. All right. Jesus, take the wheel, like whatever you want to say, but it's that aspect of just letting things happen. Okay. It's time for us to kind of take a step back, which is good to do because once again, it's dark moon time. Just let that shit go. Like, do what you have to do, but really, really just watch and see what begins. Just let things go. Let things move as they want. Okay, Tuesday, the 5th. Lots more. The moon's going to sextile Uranus. All right, so that sextile, it's the moon in Aquarius. Excuse me. The moon will be in Aquarius at the 29th degree. It's going to sextile Uranus. Okay, so the moon has been moving through Uranus's sign this whole time. Okay, it's going to sextile Uranus, who's still in Aries, by the way. Okay, and that's an opportunity aspect. It's an opportunity because the moon has been moving through Aquarius this whole time. Okay, really taking a bird's eye view. It's like our emotional self is getting aligned with our higher intelligence, okay? Because it's in getting liberated, okay? So our emotions are now in a higher place, okay? We're really, really wrapping up this stage of emotional, all the stuff that we need to do, all the things that we need to let go of emotionally, all the ways that we need to grow emotionally, within our emotional intelligence, within, our capacity for reciprocity, our capacity for empowerment, all the things that we need to emotionally expand into for ourselves. And that's all in our unconscious, by the way, which really, really rules the shit that we do on the day to day. Like, that's why the moon is the one that goes around the zodiac so fast. Like, that's the thing that's powering us. Like, we have our conscious mind that's, thinking about things and wanting to do things and taking actions, but our conscious mind always still answers to the unconscious. Okay. So it's aligning our unconscious feeling selves, okay? We move from our feelings always, okay? Unless you're a robot. But we move from our feelings always, and whether we want to admit that or not, some people like to shove their feelings to the side, but even that is in an attempt to not feel feelings. It's still always about feelings, okay? And that moon sextile Uranus, it's this final opportunity to liberate our emotional selves and have that, which I feel like this is just I feel like the sextile, this is kind of like one of those things because Uranus rules Aquarius and the moon is there in Aquarius, it's going to happen anyway. Okay. But it's an opportunity for us to have some awareness about it. Okay. And it could feel pleasant, this. There's an expansion of our emotional selves. We have a different emotional understanding of ourselves. Okay, we have a moment of enlightenment about our emotional state and what it is that we need to do moving forward. Okay, how it is that we need to allow ourselves to be on an emotional level moving forward. Once again, this is the dark moon time as well. So it's really us needing to go in to understand that, where we are, where we've been, and what we need to open up to. What feelings, expanding our feelings, expanding our capacity to feel, okay? And so that we can move forward. So that's moon sextile Uranus, and then the moon's going to move into Pisces. Okay, and it's some more semi-sextile stuff, okay? Because the moon's also going to semi-sextile Mercury, and then the moon's going to semi-sextile Mercury in Pisces, okay, while sextiling Uranus. Okay, so the moon and Mercury and Uranus are all going to be semi-sextile each other, okay? Boom, boom, boom. And once again, it's the moon coming in and understanding that emotional capacity and pumping that into Mercury. Okay, so our emotion, these are the unseen hands moving. Our emotional capacity is getting aligned with our higher consciousness and understanding the need for expansion and liberation. Okay, Mercury's taking all that in the concept of the blueprint, and Uranus is about to roll into Taurus. Okay, so these are the unseen hand aspects. Just let it roll, okay? But it'll be, make yourself, if you can, try to be aware of the subtle nuances. Okay, these are the subtle aspects that move us. Okay, like I said, these are unseen hand aspects. These are things that we don't think about, like trines and sextiles and squares and conjunctions. They're more forward, but a lot of these other aspects they're very subtle. Okay, and that's what I like to believe that that's like the framework that we're actually working out of, and also spirit moving through for us on our behalf. Okay. So the moon is also going to semi-sextile Venus and Chiron. Okay, so moon's going to be at 0 degrees Pisces, semi-sextiling Venus in Aquarius, and Chiron in Pisces. So it'll be like that bridge between the two of them while they're sextiling. It's kind of like an outlet. Okay, it's kind of like an outlet. So emotionally, it's just more information, and it's more healing. Okay, it's more healing. It's more calling in the larger connections that we need. It's more calling in what we value. It's more healing of that individual will and our healing of our actions. Okay, I don't want to say healing of our actions. What I'm trying to say, it's understanding the need to take higher action in a higher way. Okay, that it's all of these things, and it's all swirling around in there. And Mercury is also going to go retrograde. Okay, so Mercury's been, moving through 29 degrees, slowly. And now finally Mercury stops in the sky. Okay, Mercury is stopped in the sky. So Mercury is really, we're going to be really feeling that, like I said, and I'm sure we'd be feeling it for the next couple of days, because Mercury's already on the 29th degree and still moving right now as of Friday, but not going to be moving much longer. Okay, so slowing down. So we're really probably, I feel like that sense of unseen hands moving things on Tuesday is really, I feel like, going to be quite intense. Then Wednesday, we're going to have the moon's going to sextile Mars, okay? And that aspect, so the moon in Pisces, okay, so that's this is our emotional interconnectedness, okay? We are connected to everybody and everything, all the feelings, okay? All the feelings. And the moon is going to sextile Mars, all right? So now the moon's been all the way through the zodiac and is carrying all of this information, okay? So the last moon cycle, when it started in Aquarius, was with the sun, and they were like, let's make a blueprint. And the moon said, okay. So the sun has been carrying like the idea of the blueprint, and the moon's been getting all of the information from all the planets, like as the moon has gone around the zodiac, about what we need to change, what we need to allow, how we need to align our unconscious selves differently, okay? How we need to allow our emotions to expand, how our feelings sometimes get in the way of things, like all of those things. The moon's been getting all this information, and now the moon's sextiling Mars, and it's an opportunity for Mars and the moon to chat from this different perspective. So now the moon's like, hey, I'm in the waters of Pisces again, and I see you down there, Mars. And Mars is like, yes, I am still working. But I'm taking a break. Like I said, I think Mars needs to kind of take a bit of a break this week. Okay. I think Mars needs to just take a bit of a break, chill out. Everybody needs a drink of lemonade and a snack. I think Mars should do that this week. Okay. Like, I think we should kind of just let things roll, as, obviously, like, you can't stop your life, but things that you've been really, really like banking on and wanting to happen, like allow the universe to do the work, set things up for you. It's a setup. Okay, so the moon and moon sextile Mars, they're going to talk, and the moon is going to be like just giving Mars encouragement. Okay, that's what I feel like. This is like encouraging Mars to take that rest. Okay, encouraging us to really take that rest. All right, not to do much. I think we're just going to be in a very feeling space with the moon in Pisces. Take a rest. All right, that's what that is. That's what they're saying. Take a rest, okay? Then we have the new moon in Pisces, okay? And this starts a whole new moon cycle, whole new 4-week phase we're going to be in. And this new moon is conjunct Neptune, which is really, really deep. Neptune rules Pisces, okay? So we have the sun, the moon, and Pisces all together during this new moon, okay? And what that is doing is the blueprint is now an official dream, okay? So it's going to be hard not to call it the blueprint anymore, but now the blueprint has gotten its soul. Okay, that's pretty much what this aspect feels like. The sun has been, our consciousness and our unconscious are coming together, okay? And Neptune's kind of like fertilizing, okay? Neptune is like, here's the soul for the blueprint, okay? The blueprint's been in consciousness, waiting for the moon to come back around with all of the information that we need, okay, to put together to begin to make this happen. We've been through a whole huge process. Okay, we've been through such a process. And like I said before, the moon is getting liberated at each stage as passing through as it hits 29 degrees, like whether it's a subtle aspect or a major aspect, it's all liberating us emotionally. And now the moon comes back to the sun, and it's kind of like this union of the moon and the sun in Pisces, in the soul waters of Pisces, okay, with Neptune who rules Pisces, okay. It's Neptune's blessing. Our blueprint is now officially a dream, okay. Our blueprint is coming to life. We can feel it, okay. It's growing, it's moving, okay. Like I said, we could kind of feel it starting to move a little bit last week, okay. We could feel like something kind of jumping, but now it's becoming something that can be embodied, okay, something that can come to life. It wasn't complete before. It needed the moon and it needed Neptune, okay. And now it is a complete, it's completely coming into something. It's turning into something real, okay. This is, it's a dream now. It's the dream. We're in the dream season, okay. So this new moon is going to conjunct, like once again, sun, moon, Neptune, all going to conjunct. It's also sextiling Saturn, okay. And that sextile once again is an opportunity aspect, okay. We're not going to, I feel like Wednesday's going to be really, really trippy. Okay, that's what I feel like. I feel like Wednesday's going to be really freaking trippy because it's like all this Pisces energy, and I feel like we're just going to kind of be like, you know what? I need to chill, all right? And I strongly suggest doing that. I very, very strongly suggest just letting things just be, okay? I'm telling you this week, just let it do what it's due. Let it do what it do, okay? The sextile to Saturn, if you all remember when the, what am I trying to say? The new moon in Aquarius a month ago, okay, was at 15 degrees, all right? Right in between Saturn at 15 and Neptune at 15. Now the new moon is on 15 degrees with Neptune in Pisces, okay? And Saturn is sextiling. This is the soul, okay? Our dream, okay? Our blueprint now has a soul and is a dream. This is like we have the opportunity to kind of imprint structure, okay? Put a form to that dream, but it's a sextile. Like I feel like it's something inside of us, okay, that we have an opportunity to open up to. It might be an event that comes through, like miracles and dreams and all sorts of things can happen, but it's an opportunity for us to understand, the basic structure, the basic, to really feel into it and understand that this dream could become reality. Is going to become reality. What we are dreaming into now is going to become reality. That's like that sextile to Saturn in Capricorn. We're just structuring. It's like it's almost kind of like even empowering. Like Saturn is in Capricorn, and Capricorn's about empowerment and through structure. So it's like we're getting Saturn's blessing as well. Like this empowerment of this soul, of this blueprint, allowing it to like begin to move and understand its boundaries and its structures. Okay. All right. And then Uranus on the final degree and minute of Aries moves into Taurus. So this is all Wednesday. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Just like Wednesday is a trippy day. Just chill. Just float on through. Okay. Well, just float on through. Don't let anything bother you. Don't let anything, just float through on Wednesday. Okay. All right. So when Uranus once again moves into Taurus, it's going to be a shift of energy. Okay, because we've been in this space and it's kind of almost been like a holding pattern, you know, and I'm not saying that when Uranus gets into Taurus, it's going to be like this big, like, hey, let's go, because Taurus doesn't move that way. Okay, Taurus is very, very thoughtful, very process oriented, very practical. Okay, so it's going to be a shift from like this intense holding, okay, because Uranus has been on this 29th degree, like wrapping things up, and we want to move and things want to go, but they can't quite go yet. All right. And Mars is in Taurus, where we're not really going very quickly. And Mercury's in Pisces, where we're not thinking very quickly. Like we're not thinking, like it's not about taking action right now. Okay. Nothing is about taking a lot of action. We are acting in our day to day. And yes, I mean, I'm not saying don't do anything, but I am saying it's not. This week, most especially, is about letting the unseen hands do what the unseen hands do, okay, and align things for us because we don't know how they need to be aligned. Okay, so this week is about taking a step back. But I do feel like when Uranus moves into Taurus, it's going to be like a much more open feeling, okay, where like I said, we've been in this holding pattern for so long with Uranus at these ending degrees. Like we were ready for something to move, but it's not quite ready to go yet because we aren't quite ready. And now once Uranus makes that shift, it's just going to feel open. Okay, like there's possibility again. Okay, all right. Like, and then it begins to break the ground, okay, in a very methodical way. Uranus typically brings like, you know, like Uranus rules like lightning and electricity and shocks and jolts and things like that. But Taurus is earth. Earth absorbs that. Okay, Earth absorbs all that shock. Earth is a shock absorber. Why can't I say that? Earth is a shock absorber. So Uranus moving into Taurus, it's going to shake things up, but not in the same way that Uranus would potentially act in another sign. Okay, so it's going to be, like I said, I feel like it's just things are going to just start to open. And our foundations are going to start to maybe vibrate a little bit. Okay, we're going to feel things vibrating around us because, like I said, Wednesday could be pretty trippy because there's all these unseen hands, you know, our blueprint's turning into a dream, and we're feeling it, you know, we're feeling into the fact that it's gonna come true. And then the ground, like Uranus moves and we're kind of vibrating, you know, because the structures that have been underneath us, okay, for so long, we've done so much work, you know, at the root with Pluto, and we've done so much work, you know, on the outside with everything, you know, moving things around and getting rid of things and restructuring and reconfiguring, and now it's time to break ground. It's time to break ground for something new. And Thursday, let's see. So that was Wednesday and the new moon. And Thursday, the moon in Pisces is going to square Jupiter. Okay. And that could feel kind of frictional. I'm not feeling it that way though. I just feel like we could feel like too open. Okay. Because it's like so much energy going on. I just feel like it's a day that we might need to really like ground ourselves. I don't know, go eat a potato or something. But seriously, like we might really need to ground ourselves because I feel like we could feel too open. And because of that, like not be aware of the boundaries that we need to have, and also, you know, letting too many things in and then getting like kind of riled up and irritated. So I feel like that's a day to just like hang back and just take as much time to yourself as you can. All right. The moon is coming off of the meeting with the sun and Neptune, and now it's got a lot, and Jupiter is asking us to expand more into Jupiter and Sag is asking us, okay, expand some more. And the moon is like, I'm as expanded as I can possibly be because I'm in Pisces, so it could be like, we could want to, the square might actually kind of be somewhat of a good thing, where it kind of makes us like, we feel enough of an irritation to kind of rein ourselves in. Okay, that's what I'm feeling about it. Okay, the moon's also going to sextile Pluto, okay, which is another opportunity aspect. It's an opportunity for us to now, like, we've had like the sun and the moon come together, and now like we have a dream. And the sun is moving on the moon is moving on to then begin, getting the information so that the next time that the sun and moon meet, we're going to be further along in this dream process. Okay, so right now the moon is sextiling Pluto, and it's an opportunity for us to check in, okay? To check in. The moon just conjuncted Pluto over the weekend and was kind of looking at, our power structures, like the roots of our power structures, okay? And our emotional power structures, okay? And now the moon sextiling Pluto is it's information. It's an opportunity to give the information of the dream, okay, as it's coming to life now, okay? An opportunity for us to really understand and begin to kind of lay that groundwork, okay? Lay new groundwork. All right, because now the moon has touched the dream. The moon is the dream, and the moon are, it's one of the parents of the dream, So it's giving that information to Pluto. Okay, this is the new structures that we might need to start laying. Okay, and it doesn't have to happen right now. It's a sextile. It's an opportunity, but something to think about. And it could feel, we could start feeling like really empowered. Okay, we could really, really start feeling empowered about what it is that we're bringing to life for ourselves. We can start to really feel empowered about it. Okay, then the moon is going to trine the North Node. Okay, and the moon in Pisces, trining, which is a very, very fluid and easy aspect. Okay, it's a super easy aspect in that the trines are aspects between same element, okay? Same element signs at the same degree. So it's very, very easy. They get along, they're kin, they understand each other, okay? And what's going to happen is, now that the moon has, met with the sun, met with Neptune, like given this information, so that now our blueprint is now a dream. Okay, and coming off of a contact with Pluto about, the root power structures, the root emotional power structures that we need. Okay, the root. Now the moon is going to trine the North Node, and the North Node is all about, where we're going. It's our node of evolution. Okay, so the moon is now taking all this information from the new moon meeting and Pluto and giving it to the North Node, and the North Node is like, yes, okay, because really the North Node is, we're looking for home. The North Node is in Cancer, okay, and that's how we're evolving for the next 18 months as a collective. We are evolving in the sense of what is home to us, what is secure for us, all right? How do we create home within ourselves? How do we create home outside of ourselves? Okay, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for home. We're looking for emotional sustenance. That's our beam. That's our radar. That's what's on our radar. That's how we're evolving. That's how we're moving forward. Okay, that's what all of us are looking towards inside. Okay, so that trine, it's now like the dream is getting infused with our evolutionary destiny. Okay? And our dream is understanding, we have that understanding of like what home is. Okay? And it's all in the waters of Pisces, so it's all getting filtered through, okay? Because Pisces is everything. It's all the thoughts. It's all the all the feelings. So we're feeling our way in. Cancer is also feeling, okay? So we're feeling where we need to go. We're feeling the pull, okay? We're feeling the pull. We're feeling the pull of our dream and where it is that we need to go so that we can keep evolving, okay? And the dream is the vehicle to get us there, okay? All right? Building this dream is the way that we get to the North Node, and the North Node and following the North Node is how we get to build the dream. Okay, it's a symbiotic relationship. Okay, and then the moon's going to conjunct Mercury at the 29th degree of Pisces. Okay, now Mercury's now retrograde, and the moon is going to conjunct Mercury, and we will be like, now it's about that concept. Okay, once again, Mercury's holding the concept of the blueprint, like our intellectual understanding and knowing of the blueprint. Mercury's carrying that. Okay, so the moon's going to meet there, and once again, it's all about, the moon giving Mercury this information about the concept, where it is that we're like, what is home for us. All right, we're gonna feel that. Okay, I feel like we're going to feel very comfortable. We're going to have an understanding of what is comforting and where we need to go in order to make this dream a reality. We're going to understand those feelings, and all that gets infused into the concept of the blueprint that Mercury is holding. Okay, and then the moon's going to move into Aries. Okay, and the moon is going to go from the waters of Pisces into Aries. So now we're at another cycle of understanding our emotional will, but in a different way, because now the moon has just been liberated by Uranus all the way through the zodiac, and now, at that 29th degree, and now we have a new understanding of how we need to act. Okay, we have a new understanding of what it is that we are willing to act on an emotional level. Okay, what actions we want to take from there. And then the moon's going to conjunct Chiron. Okay, and when the moon conjuncts Chiron, it could feel, I don't know how this one's going to feel. To be honest, I really don't know. It could feel, we could get a pang of something. Like I said, Chiron is a wound, okay? And it's a wound that doesn't heal. Okay, we have to transcend that wound. So I feel like this is the first time that the moon is meeting with Chiron since Chiron moved into Aries. And I feel as though we might have like a moment of understanding. Okay, I feel like we might feel what that wound is. Okay, that's what I feel like. I feel like we might feel what that wound actually is. And I mean, I'm not saying like in a sense of like, yes, I know exactly. It's more nuanced than that. It's more complicated than that, because this is something that we're going to be exploring for like the next 8 or 9 years while Chiron is in Aries. But what I do want to say is that I feel like this is the next leg of the journey. Okay, the moon meeting with Chiron at 0 degrees Aries it's the next leg of this journey that we're about to be on, and it's the journey of understanding and transcending the wound of our individual will wanting to separate, wanting to act on its own accord, and also potentially having other people's wills act against us. Okay, so we could be feeling, and getting an understanding, like watch what comes up for you that day. Watch what comes up for you on Thursday. As the moon moves into Aries, just understand that it could feel a little not good. Okay. And you just want to be aware that whatever that information is, make note of it. Okay. Because it might be something that you will be dealing with over the course of the next few years as we begin to build this dream. Okay? Then some more semi-sextiles, It's all good because the moon's going to semi-sextile Uranus and Chiron's going to semi-sextile Uranus and everybody's semi-sextile in Uranus. So while we're having, that the moon and Chiron are meeting, okay, at 0 degrees Aries, all right, and we're feeling a pull emotionally to take some kind of action, but also understanding whatever our wounding might be, so it could be like, this like kind of hesitancy, but also it's a semi-sextile to Uranus. So once again, I feel like this is that unseen hands. Like there's things working in our favor to align us with the proper path for healing. Uranus is breaking ground in Taurus now. Okay, so I feel like that semi-sextile, as long as we make ourselves aware through the conjunction of the moon and Uranus, take note of how you're feeling. Okay, take note of what it is that you want to be doing. Okay, and any feelings that you're having, and then I feel like there will be unseen hands kind of guiding and directing that path that you're going to be taking to that ultimate healing. Okay? And then Friday, the moon moves through Aries and sextiles Venus. And when the moon sextiles Venus, it's an opportunity. Venus is once again still in Aquarius, hanging out up there, doing the Aquarian thing and being very objective and, feeling for ways to connect on a larger level, on a larger scope, and looking for what's innovative, looking for what's enlightening, looking for what's liberating. Okay, Venus wants to be liberated in Aquarius. Okay, and liberated in the sense of a liberated self. Okay, a liberated self that can connect in any way that we choose. That's what we want. Okay, and for the higher good, we're also looking for the higher good of everyone. Okay, so the moon in Aries is going to be wanting to do something, and Venus in Aquarius is like hanging out, chilling. So it's an opportunity. Maybe we'll get an opportunity to understand, on an emotional level, what it is that we want, new groups, new things, new people, new places that can open us up. Okay, so we might have an opportunity in that respect. Once again, sextile is an opportunity aspect. You don't have to take it. It's a pleasant invitation. But if you do, it's a chance to grow. Okay, it's a chance to grow in our emotional will, and it's a chance to grow, it's a chance to grow our value system. Okay, it's a chance to grow our value system. It's a chance to grow in how we relate, in what we find, in how we keep ourselves liberated, what we find joy, like who we resonate with. Okay, it's a chance to open all of that up on Friday. And that kind of rounds out the week. I did not think I was going to be talking this long, but here I am again. So anyway, but this is what I asked Spirit for what they wanted me to say, and they gave it to me. So I hope you all appreciate that. And this week's tarot is, I actually was cracking up when I pulled this card. It's the Eight of Wands. Okay. And the Eight of Wands is literally, in the Rider-Waite deck. I don't read from the Rider-Waite deck, but, in that particular deck, it's 8 wands flying through the air. You don't know where they came from, and you don't know where they're going. It's just sky with 8 wands flying through the air. And I read from the Thoth deck, at least when I do with these cards, and it's basically a rainbow with all these like electric. It's a rainbow at the top, and it's got oh gosh, what is that shape that I can't remember right now? Anyway, it's got like, a square and a diamond. I cannot remember actually sacred geometry shapes that I can't think of. And it's got like eight lightning bolts, like 8 electric bolts shooting out from the diamond. And it's a card of Mercury and Sagittarius, which Sagittarius is, like I said, it's our higher self. It's our highest truth. Okay, it's universal law. It's universal truth. Okay, and when I saw this card, and I just kind of cracked up because it literally is talking about unseen hands. It's literally unseen hands, unseen forces, natural law, natural forces, what needs to align for each one of us. We don't necessarily know. We know where we want to go. We know what our dream is, okay? But we have to allow the unseen hands to do what they do. The eights in tarot, I like to liken the number 8, the eights to ripening. It's a ripening. You're understanding your choices. You're understanding your options. You're understanding what you can do. You're understanding that you can stay or go. You can take or leave a situation. It's about having choices and flowing. It's about flowing and ripening. And the time is ripe. That's what this is saying for me. This is saying that the time is ripe and it's time for things to move, but we are not in charge of that movement. Okay, we're not the ones that are in charge of that movement. This is a higher plan for us. It's a higher scheme. And yes, we are co-creators. Okay, but now it's time for us to take a step back because we can't see the bigger picture. Okay, we are not privy to that. And because we're not privy to that bigger picture, we don't know how things need to move for us on our behalf. And that's what this card is telling me. That's what the whole message that they've given me for this week is really, really understand the work, the internal work that we need to do now. We've co-created, we've told the universe what we want. We've, held our blueprint in our consciousness. It's now turning into a dream with the new moon. Let that happen and work on ourselves. Like that's what this is right now. Be prepared because the unseen hands are working in our favor this week and it's aligning things for us and we might not see the results just yet. Okay, and I'm saying this for myself because I'm horribly impatient. But we might not see the results just yet, but the hands are working on our behalf. Okay, they're working on our behalf. And what is most imperative is for us to keep working on ourselves and keeping ourselves aligned with that truth so that when the wands land, okay, because they're going to land, all right, and they're going to land probably where Uranus is breaking that ground, all right, when they land, we'll be prepared, all right? And so that is the Astro Lunar Tarot stuff for the week. I hope you all enjoyed it. I really, really appreciate everyone who has been texting and sending emails and DMs and all kinds of stuff saying how much, these messages and, the forecasts have helped you to see what's going on in your life and, just understand what's happening. I really, really appreciate that. This is the gift that I've been given and I'm very, very happy and blessed to be able to share it with all of you. And I appreciate every single last one of you that listens and tunes in and, takes time to just listen to these words. If you are interested in any, personal readings, tarot readings, body work, please get in touch with me. My website is elementsandalchemy.com. You can also check me out on Instagram at Elements and Alchemy. And if you're still feeling, all wacky and stuff, take a chill pill this weekend and check out the Spotify playlist. It's the Pisces season playlist at Elements and Alchemy on Spotify, and that should maybe chill you out and maybe get you into a nice groove so that we can just kind of chill for the week like they're asking us to. And I hope you all have a really wonderful week, a really beautiful dark moon and new moon time, and like I said, just let go and let God this week, friends. All right. Love you all. Talk to you very soon. And I'll talk to you next week.